What's going on, everybody? BobbyFi with my man Eric Sheets. We're going to be talking through tonight's one-game showdown slate. The pretty ugly game, Miami and New Orleans. Pretty relevant game, but it's an ugly game. I guess every game is relevant these days in the NFL because basically everybody's still in playoff contention. But Sheets, any sort of overall thoughts before we jump into positions and whatnot?
Every once in a while, and I say this usually in the NBA, I feel as though DraftKings and FanDuel just is kind of messing with me. Because what I do is I download the salary sheets. I don't even see anything. I upload projections and I look at these guys and I'm like, okay, this is obviously a made up name, just to see if I'll recommend somebody with like a made up name. I'm telling you, one day I'm thinking of saying, boy, is anybody really like Michael Hunt at quarterback or something like that? And like have like DraftKings and FanDuel playing some joke on me. So when I first pulled this up, I'm like, it really doesn't really mean Ian Book, right? That's not really the quarterback in this game. I literally had to go to the rosters and see and confirm that was the case. I really thought it was they were like messing with the spreadsheets or something like that. But nonetheless, they're still offering 500,000 for first to whoever can figure this out. So we may as well go ahead and try to attack it. Let me share my screen.
Yep.
Let me suggest to you the most important thing you have to figure out on today's slate, and I'll just throw it out there. Between Duke Johnson and Myles Gaskin, where do you think and I'll give you a couple of choices. Where do you think the production is going to come from? Do you think it's going to be more towards Gaskin, more towards Duke Johnson, or more a share? And how is that going to affect your ownership of both these guys? I think that is probably at least the most interesting discussion that everybody's going to have, because Duke Johnson just kind of came out of nowhere last week to smash, right? People are going to be just totally eyeing that decision, I think, pretty much all day. So where are you, at least on that question?
Yeah, it's rough for me because I'm having a hard time figuring it out. I don't know exactly where that came from. Duke Johnson has never really been a feature back, basically ever. I mean,
Nope.
He's always sort of the pass catching specialist. He carried the ball 22 times last week. Maybe it's just because it was working. That could be a simple.
That's a big deal,
But it was working against. But then again, it was working against the Jets, not against.
Well, when you think about this, I mean, so we're trying to figure out what's going to happen today, right? So I don't know. I find this interesting to see what kind of coach do you think Flores is? Is he kind of the hot hand type coach, right? Or is he a guy that's going to say, "Listen, Duke, I know you had a good day, but Gaskin's our future. We're gonna go with him, whatever it is." I'm just curious because look, in a one game slate, you get that one. If you get that right, I mean, you got a big edge over everybody else. I mean, is he the guy that would say, you know what, let's do a timeshare and let's just see, or is he going to say, Duke, man, you earned it. It's all you. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good question. I honestly have a hard time figuring it out as of early today. I don't think it's totally viable not to play either of them. I don't know that. I mean, New Orleans is not like they're not a great team to run on. They're not a great team to pass on either. They're actually a pretty good defense. But I'm finding myself wanting to play the receivers more. It's tough. I don't know. I hope to have a better answer at 6 for that one. I want to do a little research on maybe some coach speak, some ideas, and what other people out there are sort of speculating on, because it feels weird that Duke Johnson would just immediately take over the role. I don't know. I'm gonna have to dig a little deeper on that.
Well, one thing you could do, again, this is kind of obvious, but if you're multi-entering, what you could do is you could do one set of builds with Gaskin, one set of builds with Duke, one set of builds with both, and one set of builds with zero.
Yep.
I do think that I think I'm just kind of guessing what a lot of people are going to do is they're going to split their exposure, maybe 50% Gaskin, 50% Duke. I don't think that many people are going to play both. And I don't think that many people are going to play neither. So I don't know. And that's just my natural.
I like that. Yeah. I think that makes sense. Or we better off just playing Kamara and Ingram. You know what I mean? Like, or you play all 4. Like, I mean, there's a lot of things to go through here, but my natural lean is to would probably off like the top of my just thinking about it maybe they do trust the veteran and they're trying to make a playoff push for Duke Johnson, but I still kind of want to play. I don't know. I really feel split on that, on those two.
Well, let's talk about the receivers then. Because they're listen, Miami, they certainly have some decent options. And on a showdown slate, just because of the way a showdown slate works, those options kind of expand, you know. So I guess for me at least, the best receiver is Jalen Waddle. Followed by, for me, I guess a tie sort of between Gesicki and Parker. I think both those are certainly good plays. So how do you prioritize that? Again, you're going to have to pay for Waddle. Waddle's significantly pricier than Parker, and Parker significantly pricier than Gesicki. Do we want to extend down to like Isaiah Ford down to 2,800, that type of thing? Where are you at with receivers, since your initial instinct was that's where you wanted to play?
Like so in terms of like the matchup is probably going to be better for Parker, assuming that they will put what's his name.
Oh, you're gonna get it this time. No, you're gonna get it this time. Come on.
I'm honestly not. I don't know what's the matter with me. I can every time except for when we do these shows, I can never remember his name. Just go ahead. Lattimore. Oh. Right. I always want to say Fitzpatrick. I don't even know where that comes from. Like, why?
There is, yeah. Right.
It's Trey Fitzpatrick, Trey Pat, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, I like the. I think just. I'm going with the fact that it does seem like the rapport, just going back to the college thing, the guy you trust the most in close games is going to be Waddle more. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm leaning right now. What happened in the Jets game with Waddle? I didn't pay attention to that.
He was out.
Was he out or was he? Oh, he was out officially. Right.
He was out.
Right, Parker was the chalk for that reason.
Yeah.
I would lean Waddle over Parker, but there is obviously a little bit of you're paying a little bit more. I don't mind Parker either. I mean, these are two of the top 4 projected raw points guys on the slate. So I have no problem using either of them. It's hard to use both of them with Tua. Like, that's going to be a tricky build. What I would do is play one of them, probably Waddle. And I would go to, I'm going to keep going for this Callaway thing because all of the early season talk made it seem like he was going to be this.
Oh, wait, he's on New Orleans though, right?
Yeah, New Orleans.
Oh, okay.
That's what I want to do. But that is a guy I'm going to focus on. I unfortunately the last showdown slate on last against Tampa Bay in that game, I had the Callaway as captain. I was feeling good about it, but the Bucs never scored, and then everybody else got injured who was on my teams. So I kind of wasted my big Callaway performance because he finally got there in a big way. Considering that game had 9 total points in it, it's a really big way. So I think Callaway is probably a bigger priority to me than either of those guys, because you get the mix of all 4 spend ups for Miami, all 5 to count Tua. So and if you're going to play both of any 2 receivers, I think you probably do want to play Tua on this slate. I think that's the quarterback you would lean towards, at least instinctually. That's the quarterback you would lean towards. I'm not sure what to do about this Ian Book thing, but I do think Callaway is the best chance for a big performance out of the New Orleans side of things. And I also think that maybe a build with Waddle, Tua, Gesicki, and Callaway would be a place where I could start and then try and figure out the running situation and potentially the value. I think this is also a good game to play defenses. And I think it's a good game to play kickers, especially Jason Sanders for Miami, because they struggle getting it in sometimes, Miami. So one thing we didn't talk about yet is, so you have Miami at New Orleans. Miami is, I think, -3. Yeah.
What is your opinion on the game?
I oddly can't believe I'm saying this. I like Miami to win this game. I think it's really weird that Ian Book in any year could be favored to win a game against a team that's 500. I know they're good. I know they've got good pieces around. I know all that stuff. I know they've got a good defense, but I'm going to bet on. I would be betting Miami tonight.
I really like Miami as well.
Hey, we're in agreement finally.
New Orleans coming off of the Tampa Bay win. I would probably be taking Miami regardless. And I think that people are underestimating how important it is to have a viable quarterback. And Miami, again, Miami is they may have won 6 in a row. I'm not sure, but I think that Miami is gonna. I think they're gonna handle this game, honestly.
Okay, I like
So that's
that.
where I'm at in this game, and I will throw in another receiver again, just because it's a showdown. They're gonna play Giuseppe, whatever it is. And here's like another guy if you want like a punt. You have Durham Smythe, who's really cheap. Like he's one of the two punt plays that I have on the slate. I want to see exactly what his price is, but it's maybe it wasn't a pure punt. Yeah, he was 600. So I do like that a little bit as a punt play.
Yeah,
There was another punt play on the New Orleans side on the receivers of all things, which I liked. Oh, he's probably pretty chalky, I think, but the Nick Vannett at 1K. But I don't know, man. It's like only because he's 1K, I'm going to play him. I'm just not expecting if you play like Marcus Callaway, like actually like receivers that you actually need. You know, you need some production to get there. I really just don't have the. I just think it's going to be a Kamara day, for New Orleans. That's what they're going to ride with. They're not going to, rely on Rook to do anything. And I think if they put it in Rook's hands to do anything, I think it's just going to backfire. So I'm probably going to be like most people and think that I'm going to probably stay away from most of the Saints except for Kamara. And that's certainly nothing going to be earth shattering about that. But I'll play Kamara and I'll play maybe a cheap 1K Vannett and probably stay away from the rest.
Do we have a for sure backup quarterback for New Orleans tonight?
Well, I don't know. I'm looking at Blake Bortles.
I can see. Yeah, there's something like this could be one of those if you want to get weird in one of your buy-ins. This night it would make a lot more sense than it did with the Mariota night, in my opinion.
Well, that would be interesting. So here's the problem is that Bortles, I think they would go to Bortles if they were down a lot, and they needed a big comeback, right?
Yep.
And I think that I don't know. I don't think it gives him enough. You know what I mean? He's not like he's 200. I don't think Bortles has enough quarters in him to get there.
Probably accurate. Yeah, probably accurate. I'm just sort of thinking out loud here if there's something else they could do. I actually do. I think Vannett is like the most viable of the spend downs.
What about this guy? What about the LaDainian Humphrey, whatever his name is?
Lil Jordan Humphrey. What's his price now? I'm looking at
1,800.
Why is he not showing up projection wise as anything?
I don't know. He didn't play. He had a DNP coach decision, I think, last week. I don't know.
Maybe that's why. Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting. I mean, you got like if Kenny Stills is active, he's 200. I would probably think that a tiny bit ahead of Lil Jordan Humphrey, but maybe not. I mean, Kenny Stills hasn't caught a pass. Now he had some targets, but he had like his last game that he actually played where he had 5 targets in that game. He had no catches. But that's sort of a product of who's around you. And they've just got a bunch of guys they could potentially use. So we have to really get an idea of who's actually going to be in the lineup. I mean, we don't know about Traquan being available either. If Traquan's out, then one of these guys is going to have to play.
And you know what else you got? You got Ty Montgomery, who is forever living off of like the performance of like 2 or 3 games from like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And people still play him from time. You know what I mean? Like, and even like 2 or 3 games ago, he got 7 targets and still generated like 7 fantasy points.
Yeah, that would be nice though. 7 fantasy points we would take from him tonight.
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't know. We'd consider it at least.
He's 2,400. It's not like he's 200 though.
Yeah. But still 2,400, 7 fantasy points. It's not the worst on these kind of ugly slates. I do think the defenses and the kickers, especially the Miami kicker, are going to be heavily in my builds. That's just where I'm at. I really, this is hard to see this game really shooting out. My priorities are going to be Tua, Kamara, Ingram, Waddle, Vannett, and honestly, probably a guy like either Montgomery or Stills or Lil Jordan Humphrey with obviously I mentioned Callaway. So those are sort of the main guys I'm looking at using with the defense, one defense and probably one kicker. At least in most of my lineups right now as I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I'm more interested in the Miami defense than the Saints defense, and you kind of see a theme here, right?
Yep.
The theme is I just am not interested in the idea of the Saints are going to be able to do anything offensively with that guy at quarterback.
Right.
at least Hill provided, at least wrinkles, and they didn't do anything either. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so I think they're gonna just get the ball in Kamara's hands. They're gonna give him as many touches as he can deal with. And I think the rest of the offense is gonna be just kind of hit or miss. So I'll play the Miami defense. I actually think that the Saints kicking game is, you gotta like both kicking games, honestly. You just do. I like both kickers. I like Miami defense, and then I'll play the Miami skill receivers. That's kind of where I'm at. I think like a lot of my builds, unfortunately, are going to be 5 Dolphins and Kamara, or 5 Dolphins and maybe something random from the Saints or something like that. Maybe like 5 Dolphins and Vinette or something like that. That could be fun. That's kind of the way I'm going to go.
Yeah, and don't cross Ingram out. Like, I mean, I think that there is a path for Ingram. Ingram and Callaway would be my, I like their prices a little better. It makes things a little bit easier to do when you try to actually make some builds. So that's what I would say. But we will have, we'll hopefully have more information when we're live with you guys at 6 Eastern, because again, there's like 9 receivers for New Orleans listed right now, and there's no way they're going to suit up 9 receivers. So we'll see what happens as it gets a little closer to lock. Which is sort of the news with everything these days. But this is our first look. Sheets, anything else before we get out of here?
No, we have a thing in like 45 minutes, which I'm looking forward to. We're going to be talking to a very successful sports handicapper who I know, and we'll see how that goes. And continuing to hopefully expand the content for you guys. And we'll see you guys at 6.
Yeah, check out our new sports betting channel and throw in some takes, and we'll be going back and forth in that one too. So on our Discord. So good luck, everybody. We'll see you guys at 6 Eastern.